The flames flickered wildly, casting distorted shadows across the courtyard as La Voisin was led to the stake. The crowd, silent and tense, waited for the unholy truth to finally be erased from history. But beneath the surface, beneath the crackling wood and heat, something far darker still pulsed through the veins of Paris. Whispers of black masses, of poisoned goblets, and of secret sacrifices echoed through the alleys of the city. They said the poisonings had ended, but had they? Or was the real darkness yet to be uncovered, still lurking within the court of Louis XIV, too powerful and too dangerous to face? The execution would end her life, but the fear was only beginning. This is the story of the affair of the poisons, from 1677 to 1682, a forgotten scandal of dark deeds that rocked the French aristocracy, weaving a web of mystery, sorcery, and unthinkable crimes. Paris in the late 17th century was a city of extremes. Behind the golden gates of Versailles, King Louis XIV, the Sun King, ruled with absolute power. His reign glittered with wealth, grandeur, and the splendor of the French court. But beneath this gilded surface, a world of corruption, deceit, and darkness festered. In the narrow, shadowed streets of Paris, a dangerous underground of fortune-tellers, alchemists, and poisoners flourished. It was here that the notorious affair of the poisons would unfold, a chilling tale of murder, greed, and occult practices that would implicate the highest echelons of French society. At the heart of this dark conspiracy was one woman, Catherine Voisin, known to history as La Voisin. Born into poverty, she clawed her way up from obscurity to become one of the most powerful fortune-tellers and poisoners in Paris. She offered her services to the rich and powerful, reading tarot cards, crafting potions, and most infamously, concocting deadly poisons. But La Voisin's services went far beyond simple fortune-telling or love potions. She had connections to an extensive underground network of poisoners, midwives, and occult practitioners, and her clients were not the downtrodden and desperate, but the wealthy and influential members of French aristocracy. Her notoriety grew as word spread of her ability to remove inconvenient husbands, rivals, or anyone who stood in the way of her clients' ambitions. Her clientele included nobles, ladies-in-waiting, and even individuals close to the king. Among them was Madame de Montespan, the king's longtime mistress. Montespan was determined to keep Louis XIV's affections, even as other women threatened her place in his heart and in the court. For this, she turned to the darkest forms of sorcery, seeking La Voisin's services not only for love potions, but for something far more sinister: black masses. La Voisin's dealings were not limited to poison. She was a key player in organizing and conducting black masses, rituals where prayers were said backward, and animal sacrifices were offered to dark powers. These ceremonies were performed in the hopes of securing the favor of Satan or invoking supernatural forces to grant the wishes of her desperate clients. The most shocking of these rituals was the involvement of Madame de Montespan. In her quest to maintain her influence over the king, she had participated in several black masses, where La Voisin would summon dark forces. In these rituals, infants were allegedly sacrificed, their blood spilled in the hopes of invoking supernatural aid. Witnesses later claimed that Montespan herself had lain on the altar, naked, while prayers to Satan were offered in her name. These accounts of black masses, whispered in the back alleys of Paris, were terrifying not only because of their blasphemous nature, but because they involved some of the most powerful people in France. The idea that the king's mistress, a woman at the heart of French power, could be engaging in such dark practices shocked and horrified the nation. As La Voisin's notoriety grew, so did her list of clients. She became the queen of poisons, able to craft deadly concoctions for any who could pay her price. The poisons she sold were subtle, often mimicking natural causes of unaliving, leaving little trace behind. Throughout the late 1670s, mysterious deaths began to plague the French aristocracy. Wealthy nobles died suddenly, their unalivings unexplained. Their estates were inherited by those who had much to gain, and suspicions grew. Paris was gripped by paranoia. Anyone could be a victim, and anyone could be a culprit. Voisin and her network of poisoners operated in the shadows, using their knowledge of chemistry and herbs to unalive quietly and efficiently. It wasn't long before rumors of a vast conspiracy began to spread, implicating not just the poisoners themselves, but the nobility who sought them out. As more aristocrats perished, whispers of poisonings reached the king's ears, and Louis XIV, determined to protect his reign from scandal, ordered an investigation. The affair of the poisons erupted into full view in 1677, when the authorities, led by Gabriel Nicolas de la Reynie, the lieutenant general of the Paris police, uncovered the extent of the poisoners' network. Hundreds of people were arrested, from noblewomen and priests to midwives and alchemists. The investigation revealed a world of vice and corruption that extended into the very heart of French society. Voisin was arrested in 1679. Her trial became a public spectacle, with tales of black masses, poisonings, and child sacrifices capturing the imaginations of Parisians. As the investigation unfolded, more and more names were implicated, and the web of deceit grew ever larger. Voisin, under torture, confessed to her crimes. She admitted to poisoning countless victims, performing black masses, and conspiring with some of the most powerful people in France. However, even under duress, she refused to implicate Madame de Montespan, though others testified to the mistress's involvement in the dark rituals. On February 22, 1680, Voisin was executed by burning. As the flames consumed her, many believed that the secrets of the poisonings had been buried with her. But the scandal was far from over. The affair of the poisons had far-reaching consequences. The investigation continued long after Voisin's unaliving, with dozens of others implicated in the conspiracy. The king himself was forced to confront the darkness lurking within his court, though he chose to cover up much of the scandal to protect the monarchy's reputation. Madame de Montespan, though never formally charged, fell out of favor with the king. Her involvement in the scandal was an open secret, and while she was not punished publicly, she was quietly pushed aside in court. The repercussions of the affair echoed through French society for years to come. It left a legacy of fear and paranoia, with many believing that the real culprits had escaped justice. The investigation had only scratched the surface of the corruption and darkness within the aristocracy, and the full extent of the poisonings and rituals may never be known. In the end, the flames that consumed Voisin were not enough to erase the stain of the affair of the poisons. The fear and suspicion it generated lingered in the hearts of Parisians, a reminder that beneath the glittering surface of the Sun King's reign, a world of shadows and death lay hidden, forgotten but never truly gone.